Monday Morning Mamas. Welcome to the Monday Morning Mama Show. I am your host, Jessica Dugas, and we are going to give it just a moment to reach our Facebook audience here today. So hello to the future. Hello to all the replay viewers. Really excited to have you on this morning. It's crazy today, and I'm officially titling this show Monday Morning Mama Unscripted because we're just rolling with it this morning. We had some tech difficulties in the beginning, and everybody, unless you are living in a bubble, you know that today is Eclipse Day. And it's nuts here, and especially here in the United States, where we're going to have totality from coast to coast today. So it's all crazy. And yeah, so we're just rolling with it today. So as I said, my name is Jessica Dugas. I'm the owner of Just Determined and the founding member of the Moms Online Mastermind. And we are on episode 14 of the Monday Morning Mama Show. I can't believe how fast time, every time I say what episode it is, I'm like, wow, where has time gone? And so really excited this morning. We are going to be talking about creating a no judgment zone. And this is a good topic. And when I came up with this topic, I said, there is nobody else that I want to call for this than my friend Kim Zielinski. So I'm really excited that she's here with me this morning. Kim is from Outlier Mom. She is a badass mama who is getting things done, but in an unconventional way. And I love her. And she's had, I just shared with her the other day, the impact that she's had on my life as well. Just in that encouragement that it's okay to step outside the box and be a little bit different, and to embrace that. So welcome, Kim. Really excited that you could join me this morning.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and just talk about getting yourself out of the zone of judgment, and being able to embrace yourself. I used to be in that world where I was so afraid of what everybody would think and fear being rejected, and it just held me back from so much. And finally, I just got to the point where I wasn't going to let that have that power over me anymore. And now I don't really care so much. And it's so liberating and so freeing, but it's so hard to get to that place. I mean, I'm here live, just post-workout, no makeup. I've got my workout stuff still on. I would have never done this a couple of years ago. I would have been never. I have to shower, be full face of makeup and be fully dressed and look all prim and proper. Now, you know what? If you don't like it, too bad. That's your issue, not mine.
Bye. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I totally get it. And I want to say a quick shout out this morning to Kat, who's watching. Good morning, Kat. Kat is overseas, and so different time of day there. It's the Monday afternoon mama show for her. And to my mom, Linda, who's watching. Hi, Mom. And everybody else who's joining us live this morning, welcome to the show. And make sure that you comment down below and give us your questions, interact with us during the show. It's always more fun that way. So yeah, we were talking about doing this topic. Kim goes, I'm going to work out. Maybe we could do it at a different time. And so I was like, nope, it's at 7 o'clock and we're creating a no judgment zone. So you just show up. And it was the same thing for me this morning. The same thing happened. I shared with Kim, I set my alarm this morning for 5:30, which is when I normally get up because I do Monday meditation in the moms group before I come on to do the show here. And I set my alarm for 5:30, and I wake up and it's light outside. I didn't sleep very well last night, and I'm like, oh Lord, what time is it? So I realize it's like 6:15, and I've got to be on in 15 minutes, and I've got sleep in my eyes, not dressed. And so Jessica, from as soon as maybe a year and a half ago, would have spazzed out. Mm-hmm. Jessica would have freaked out, and she would have probably canceled the show. If I'm being honest, I would have been like, I don't have time to fix my hair, fix my makeup, do the things that I'm supposed to do. And now I'm like, how perfect is this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny, the little lessons that life throws in there along the way, just to remind us, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Life will go on. And if somebody doesn't like it, then you don't want them around in your space anyway. So it's fine.
Absolutely. And this really couldn't come at a better time. I have to tell you, I sat down and I came up with the topics for the show for several weeks or several months even at a time, and wasn't paying attention to lunar events when I did this. And so the synchronicity that this show is happening today and on a day of an eclipse, which signifies releasing of anything that doesn't serve you. And we are here to tell you today, ladies, that perfection and this judgment crap that we get into does not serve you. No. Release it today, right? Yeah. So what, give me some examples, Kim, from your life where you have found the judgment showing up.
Oh my gosh. Where do I start? It's just everything. And growing up, I was the oldest of 4 children. And so I had a role to play in kind of my parents' eyes, and I've lived in a very small town in everybody's eyes. Like, I had to be the example. I had to follow all these rules. And so if I stepped outside of those boundaries and those rules, that's judgment there. And of course, feeling judged by your parents is kind of almost like the worst thing ever, because you want to please them and make them happy. You want to make them proud. And so just that, it shows up there, and that kind of lasts through your whole life, right? You are afraid to disappoint them. And religion is probably another one where it just would show up in a lot of different ways. Like, you got to follow the rules, the dogma of whatever religion you're brought up with. So I grew up in a very strict Catholic upbringing, and within Catholicism, there's just so much judgment. It's just like, you do this or you're going to hell. It's just, you're judged from the minute you come into this world. You're just automatically judged, and it's just one of those things that just never felt good to me. It never felt right to me. And I was always asking the question in my mind, like, why can't anybody why are we automatically judged just by existing? Like, this just never really sat and resonated with me completely. But then you go through life and you grow up. Even when you go off to college, you decide, what are you going to do with your life? Oh, are you going to decide to be a doctor or a lawyer? Great, because that's a lucrative job and that'll be, very secure. You'll set yourself up for success. But if you're going to do something else, like be a writer or an artist or a creative of some sort, you're going to get judged for that, because in society's eyes, that's not the big, lucrative, successful things to do with your life. And then, you decide to get married and have kids, and oh Lordy, being a mom, it's like
it really heats up.
Seriously, it's like open game, open season to just, how many kids are you going to have? How old are you going to wait to be when you have kids? Are you going to find out the gender when you're still pregnant? Are you going to have a natural birth? Are you going to have an epidural? Are you going to breastfeed? Are you not? Are you going to have cloth diapers? Are you going to have disposable? Oh my God, like every single thing. And so, you can't escape it. And I think once you get to the point where you're a mom, the judgment, the potential for judgment is just, it's rampant. It's everywhere. And it's so hard to escape once you almost become accustomed to just conforming, because you don't want to risk being rejected. And, I think ultimately you fear being alone. So you just keep conforming. And so you don't risk stepping outside of that box, because you don't want that judgment to come back on you.
Right. All right. So let me ask a question. I want to ask a question to everybody that's watching the video, and then I'm going to ask it to you, Kim. Based on all of that, knowing that we're kind of surrounded by that stuff, do you think that it's actually possible to create a 100% no judgment zone? That's my question for you. If you're watching today or whenever you're watching, comment below and let me know if you think it is 100% possible to create that zone. And what say you, Kim, about that?
Oh my goodness, that's a really good question. I think we can try. I don't know that we can necessarily create a 100% judgment-free zone, because all we can really do is control how we see things and the judgments that we do or do not pass. Because we can't control what's going to come back at us. So from that perspective, no, you're not going to get 100% judgment-free. But what you're projecting out, that's what you can control, right? And so you can strive for 100% judgment-free, but I think just as humans, we have an initial reaction to something that might be a little bit different than something that we know or that we do. And even for a minute or a split second, we might be like, ooh, we might feel that tendency to judge. But I think if we still move past that, and just keep an open mind, because we don't want to like pigeonhole anybody and put them in a box either. So maybe if something's different, it might strike us, just human nature. Again, it's different. Okay, got it. But if we keep our mind open and just understand, like, yeah, that's different, but that's what works for them, cool. Let them do their thing. So I think that is where you can strive to get closer to that 100%. But I don't think you're ever going to get 100% either way.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. I don't think that 100% is possible, because it's those moments of realizing our judgment and realizing the judgment of others that changes us.
Yeah.
And I think that it's almost necessary to have those moments. But the key here, and like Kim touched on, is that power of choice. How are we going to react to it? And when we catch ourselves in these moments of judgment, whether we're judging ourselves or judging someone else, take that as a moment that it's time to learn something.
Exactly.
Right? It's time to learn. It's time to grow. It's time to move forward. And so that's what it comes down to, I think, in creating this no judgment zone is that choice, is that acknowledgement that you have those judgments going on, and then choosing how you react to it. Yeah. I think it's really important. So I want to acknowledge a couple of the comments that are here today. So Kat says, authenticity builds trust and makes our stories relatable. Airbrushing is for professional photographers, and I couldn't agree more with that. And then she says, I believe it's in our I believe it is on our personal level. We have the power to react to what we hear. We are in charge on what we do and accept that others have their opinion. I find myself to take up someone's opinion and use criticism to improve. Absolutely, and you have that choice, especially when the judgment's coming from others. Yeah. I don't know how it's been for you, Kim, but for me, as a highly sensitive person, and in addition to that, an overly sensitive person, I have a habit of internalizing what other people think. And that has been the toughest thing for me to get out of. And like you mentioned in the beginning, it kept me stuck for a long period of time. And even in my business, not being able to move forward. And even today, changes are taking place in my business because I am freeing myself from that judgment and creating this no judgment zone for myself, and recognizing, hey, it's time for me to move on and move forward with my life regardless of what anybody else thinks. So what do you think about that? Like, how hard has it been for you to start to make those choices to not internalize other people's junk anymore?
It has been extremely difficult, and I completely agree with you. I think it's the hardest thing to do and move past. I think the first step is just being able to be aware that the power that it's having on you and what it's holding you back from, and the fact that it is keeping you stuck. So once you are aware of how you're internalizing it and its effect on you, then you can choose to move forward and choose to internalize it differently, make different choices. But it doesn't mean you flip a switch and, oh yeah, great, I'm over it. Because I've been working on this like a lot for probably a couple of years now. And I just had an incident that happened, I guess it was back in July, where, I was like so excited about my business. I was celebrating the fact that like July, it happened to be my birthday, and it happens to be my birthday was the catalyst for me deciding to ditch my corporate job and go out and start my own businesses. So, and then I had all this travel planned and all these events that I was hosting and things. So it was like a huge month. And so I was like feeling really good, celebrating. I'm like, I can't wait for July. I'm so excited. It's July, blah, blah, blah. I'm celebrating the fact that I did this for myself, posted about it on Facebook, and I got some backlash from it. Like I got a lot of positive feedback, but I also got some comments from people that, talking about all of that and putting that out there. I was selfish, I was self-centered, and I was too independent. And, like that was like a kick in the stomach. And so that made me want to just crawl up into a ball and go hide under a rock or pull the blanket over my head and just be like, okay, I'm being judged. I need to keep myself small and keep myself held back. And it took me a couple days to work through, which is huge progress versus it probably would have sunk me for like a couple of months, literally, which I know it sounds ridiculous, but back in the day, something like that, knowing somebody had an unfavorable opinion of me would have kept me stuck for a couple of months. But at least now, yes, it still impacts me, but I can kind of work through that process a little bit faster. Doesn't mean it doesn't impact me. It still does. I don't know if I'll ever get to the point where it won't impact me, but at least now, and I've made this progress, but it is the toughest thing to work through.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that. It's been one of the things that I've really, I struggle to deal with myself. I feel like, we both come leaps and bounds from where we were, and it really is that work in progress. And I feel like creating this no judgment zone is really like any other act of self-care. It is a practice. It's not about perfection. It's not about saying, like you said, flipping that switch of, well, today I'm not going to judge anything or anybody or myself, because it doesn't happen.
No, it's not realistic.
It's about giving yourself that power of acknowledgement, the power of choice, and saying, okay, I acknowledge that this is going on, and I'm going to choose to be better or change my life in whatever way. And even sometimes moments of saying, I'm not going to be better, because like I mentioned, sometimes that judgment can be a little bit helpful. It can be a little motivating, as long as it's not the toxic judgment. We don't want to get ourselves in this space of, not loving ourselves and not appreciating ourselves. But sometimes that judgment can give you a little push to move forward and be better.
Yes.
And so let's talk about how this relates to being an outlier mom. First, explain to everybody what an outlier mom is.
Oh, an outlier mom is somebody who never really felt like she has fit in throughout her life for one reason or another. And she has kind of felt like she needs to conform to all the societal norms and just do things, play by the rules, and just live up to everybody else's expectations. But, she definitely, now that she's a mom, does not fit in with that typical mommy crowd, even though she feels like she kind of should, or, has to wear like the same things as all the moms, talk about the same things as all the other moms. And like internally she's fighting this battle with like wanting to be true to herself and doing these things that are a little bit outside the box. She wants to push the boundaries. She wants to do something a little bit different. But again, she's worried about being judged or being cast out because she's not the typical mom or the typical wife or the typical whatever. But at some point she's just like, forget that. I'm just going to go and break out of my box and do my own thing. And so therefore the outlier, not the norm, not conforming. So the outlier mom. So that's what the outlier mom is. But trying to remember, what was the question, Jessica?
That was it. You did good. What's an outlier mom?
Okay.
And then what's the importance of creating this no judgment space? Do you think it's more important for someone like an outlier mom to create that space for herself?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think there's two sides of it. There is, first and foremost, what we've been talking about, and just kind of working to get past the judgments or what others might think or say, or worrying about what you think other people might think or say or do. Just so that is first and foremost huge, because you're going to keep yourself stuck in your little box unless you can work to get past that. If you're just going to keep yourself frozen where you are and let everybody else's potential judgment affect you, then you're not going to make any progress, and you're just always going to be stuck in that place. But the other side of it too is that when you are looking at other people and even looking at yourself, and again, going back to those judgments that you project out, you have to release, you have to open your mind. You have to be kind to other people. You have to be accepting, and you have to be kind to yourself. You have to be accepting of yourself as well. So not only is it the judgments that you're receiving, it's also the judgments that you're putting out there. So yeah, it's a huge, huge thing.
Yeah, and I'm finding that true for myself, because most people that know me, or at least the people that know me now and that know the Jessica now, know that I do a lot of things a little bit differently than other people. As it was, like, I kind of, I feel like at times I put myself in the line of judgment, because we're a homeschooling family. We're a very holistic family. We're now a completely plant-based family, which puts us at a whole other level of judgment. Let's not talk about the people that constantly tell me how I'm wrong for not liking bacon. I mean, it's a whole other level of judgment here. And so I feel like, in a way, a lot of times I put myself in this line of being an outlier mom, putting myself in this line of fire. And sometimes it's a difficult place to be for us as moms, because we're also in this mode of wanting to protect our children.
Yes.
We're like, on one side of us, we're mama bear, and on the other side, we're like, let us out of the cave. We just want to be us. And, and it's harder. I think we can also be stuck being afraid of this judgment on behalf of our families, on behalf of our children or our husband or our household as a whole. And so, like, I'm completely there right now, where I'm seeing this even more. And really, that's why this topic was so important to me, because I've seen how important it is to live by the quote, do it anyway. Regardless of, I love the Mother Teresa quote about, if you're not loved, love anyway. If you're not, that whole idea, if you're judged, do it anyway. That's what I say now, and move forward regardless of anything else. So yeah. Kat asked us a question. Kat said, do you think some of us simply accept being constantly judged if that happens in their own relationship? As someone who went through a toxic relationship, it took me about 5 years to understand that not all judgments are true, and judging others isn't the right thing. And I know for me, I can relate to that as well. I was in a toxic relationship for myself for 8 years, and I think we can get used to it. And I think we accept it, and I think that would be another big message I would have for anybody watching today, is that if you are constantly being judged and broken down by someone else, that is a toxic relationship, and you need to get out of it.
Yeah, you can't normalize that kind of a situation. You can't ever normalize being judged or judging others. Like, that is just, yes, all toxicity all around.
Right. And again, going back to what Kim said about flipping a switch, it's not something that just happens sometimes. Like I said, I was in a toxic relationship for 8 years. Why did I not get out the first year? Because you get used to that. Like you said, Kat, you get used to that, you accept it. And that's where a lot of other self-care things come in, like low self-esteem and limiting beliefs, and not believing that you're worth better than being judged in that way, and being broken down in that way. And if you stay in it for too long, and this is the reason, or one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about teaching self-care to moms, because if you stay in it for too long, it will break you. It will. Yeah. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so it's important to do all this self-care work so that you can get into a better space of this no judgment zone and saying, okay, no more am I going to do this. Yes. And Nicole that's watching, hi Nicole, is saying releasing judgments is a big life changer. Kim and I couldn't agree more.
It is. I will say one of the biggest things, it wasn't a big thing, but one of the things that had the biggest impact on me in terms of being able to release judgment was when, I don't think you guys can see it now, but I've got like purple highlights in my hair. And again, for me, I worked corporate America for 18 years. You just didn't do that kind of a thing. And so I've always wanted to have purple highlights in my hair. So I'm like, now that I was on my own, doing my own business thing, I'm just going to go and do it. I don't care that I'm, 40 years old, I've got 2 kids, whatever. But I followed my heart, I followed my gut, I just did it because it made me happy and it made me joy. But walking out of there, walking out into public and getting those looks from everybody around me, especially when I'm going to the mall or going to the store, I've got my 2 kids with me, they're all looking at me like, seriously? Exactly.
Oh, no, she didn't.
And I would instantly feel that judgment and feel like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? What did I internalized it that way. But then on the other hand, I would have these people that would be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And so that was a game changer for me. Just being able to like stick to my guns and be like, no, I'm not going to change it because I love what this looks like. I am so happy I did this. And I just started focusing more on that positive feedback. Like, yeah, those are the people that I want to hang around, that I want in my space. I don't want those people who are looking down on me because, yes, I'm a 40-year-old mom of 2 with purple highlights in my hair. If you don't like that, again, your issue, not mine. But it was just something little like that. But being able to release that, yes.
It's freeing, right? It's completely freeing. And I mean, I don't even have to have purple hair. I mean, I go out the house with 6 kids. It's immediate. Women, what are you thinking? Right. Oh, you're a better person than me. Right. You're a better person than me, Jessica. I couldn't do it. That's my favorite backhanded compliment right there.
Of course.
I couldn't do it. That's my favorite thing. I can't. All right, so I hate how fast this time has gone, but we are down to a little bit after 7:30, and I want to give everybody the opportunity to know where they can connect with you and Outlier Mom.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you can hop over to my Facebook page, Outlier Mom. Otherwise, I also have a private Facebook group that I host and that I lead. It's called Positively Deviant, and I can throw the link in here after we hop off of here as well. But again, it's a no judgment zone. I just created this space for women to come in there and just be open about, being on a self-development, personal development journey, or just even dealing with things in their life that they can't really open up and talk to anybody else about because, again, they're afraid they're going to be judged because they're opening up and talking about things that might be pushing the boundaries or just, trying to be more of themselves and honor who they are. It's the space where I'm like, you know what, come in here. I'm just going to be me. You can all be me. There is no judgment there. So you can hang out with me there too if you like.
Absolutely, and I'm excited to have joined your community recently as well, and really, really excited to have another space where I don't feel like I have to worry at all. I can just do me and not worry about it. So thank you so much for creating another space. I always, I've talked about it before when Jen McDonald was on the show. It's really important for those of us who are tired of this kind of nastiness and comparison game and judgment zone that goes on within a lot of especially mom communities that are stepping out and saying no more. No, absolutely not. We're not going to do this, and creating safe spaces for everybody to just be and exist and be who they want to be. So thank you so much for being a part of kind of that movement to say no more, because I think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so as I mentioned, we've got some changes going on in the Moms Online Mastermind, and actually I am heading in there after this to and give everybody kind of the lowdown on what's going on inside that community. And so if you are interested in another judgment-free zone, getting rid of a lot of the stress in your life, focusing on that self-care, you can join me in the Moms Online Mastermind. For now, if you're interested in that community, you can email me at jessica@jessicadugas.com, and I put the email on the screen there for you. Email me and just say, hey, what's this mom community you're talking about? We are absolutely a judgment-free zone inside the mom group. We don't stand for that. It's a place of positivity and love and really learning to wake up every day with joy, and that's what we're about, and another safe place to be where you can just come and not worry about the judgy McJudgers out there.
Nobody's got time for that.
And Kim is a part of Mom and has been for a while, and I love having her there as well. Been an awesome show. Thank you so much to Kat, Nicole, Linda, everybody that's jumped in to chat with us today. Next week, I will be back, same time, same place. Next week, we're going to talk about the importance of spirituality, and that's another place that some of us have had to draw that no judgment zone line, because we might do things a little bit different than other people do, and so going to be another interesting topic next week. But for now, thank you so much, Kim, for joining me. This has been Jessica Dugas with the Moms Online Mastermind and the Monday Morning Mama Show, reducing stress in the world, one mom at a time. I will see you next week.
Bye.